Okay, opening statement. On the surface, without having to watch the game again, I think we missed some shots. We took some quick shots at times. We were one and done a lot, didn't hit the offensive glass, and that made it really tough on us. When we take quick shots or we don't hit the offensive glass, and there are times in their defense we went smaller, but it was that smaller group that really brought us back in the game, to be honest with you. We went with just basically an all-guard lineup. When they ran out of gas, it made it tough. We had to do some substitutions to get some legs up underneath us. But the fact of the matter is, they got a lot of points just on those quick, easy transition runouts, and that's tough to keep fighting. And then when they have certain players who average about 20%, 30% from the three, hit threes for them, I think that kind of weighs in your psyche as well, and that's what was tough. We took a ton of threes. I think the disappointing thing about that is the fact that we talked about it in the locker room. If I had to point to one thing I'm disappointed with the team, is that we didn't stick true to what we talked about, and that's our ability to be able to attack. We ended up shooting 20%. Goodness gracious! In the second half, after we discussed it, we're 1 for 3 from the three. 1 for 11 from the three. That's something that we have to get corrected. Is our ability to be able to stick to our game plan, and our game plan was to continue to attack in the paint. That didn't happen. We had a largely guard lineup that was pretty quick off the bounce as well.
You were up by about 3, I think, right before the half, and they kind of went on a run there, from the first half into the second. Do you think that's where kind of the game changed, in their favor, and was the difference tonight?
I think there towards the end of the first half, it made it tough. I let the kids play through the game, took a quick shot, and that quick shot ended up turning into a layup for them. Hopefully for me, maybe it set the tone for them. My thinking was at that point is we're still okay. I'll take that hit right now. But when we go back out there, this is still part of our game plan. One, understanding that Garrett and Beverly were in foul trouble, so we got to pick it up defensively, tracking on them, understanding where they are. But two, that we have to continue to get in the paint and get to what's good for us. I told them, we only went to the free throw line at that point 5 times. We talked about being able to attack at the free throw line. Our ability to be able to score layups was really important as well. And just being patient. I think we wanted it really quickly, and it didn't happen that way. And it ended up being a track meet that didn't, fall in our favor. And it really just kind of dominoed from there. But I honestly would say I don't think necessarily it started with that for us. But our start was very poor to come back out in the game.
Did they force you? They're a team that likes to run.
Mm-hmm.
Is that maybe a reason why you felt like you wanted to take shots a little too quickly? They kind of force you into taking quicker shots than kind of letting the play develop more?
No, I don't think necessarily so. We're all right with playing a fast pace. We enjoy playing a fast pace, but we've got to be able to stay disciplined in what fast pace means for us, is our ability to be able to get up and down, but to get to layups or wide open jumpers or threes. And I think what we found is we had some contested shots. They hit the glass and boom, they were off to the races. So when it wasn't happening as quick as we wanted to, and they did do a better job with and I said this during one of the early timeouts, hey, listen, they're starting out pretty good with their transition defense. We're not getting any easy looks like we want to. We're going to have to work into the ball. I think that was probably somewhat frustrating and limiting for us. And so, is that playing a player wanting to get something good and quick early because we're getting up and down? Yes, it can. Do I think they did a good job of that tonight? Meaning Troy, yeah, for sure, they did. They did a good job of forcing us into some quick shots that weren't necessarily good shots for us.
You mentioned that they did a good job getting out in transition to get easy buckets. What do you think, without watching film, you could have done better to?
For us, it's going to come down to our ability. We should have done a better job with our shot selection at times. That's just without watching film. Mm-hmm. I can count at least 5 different times I thought, that's not the best shot in this moment. We took that shot, it was one and done, and we were, you saw kids flying back because they release. They're gone. I think that's something. And I thought we did a pretty good job with film, maybe showing them again, just them truly understanding transition defense is going to be important because of the way they like to score. But I think they can tell you, we talked about it. We talked about the way they score and what they like to do.
Taylor, I think you had a steal there about midway through the second half, and you scooped it, you scored it. To get it within 5 or 6 at that point, did you feel like, that was going to kind of lead you guys to come back and being able to get back into the game?
Yes, I definitely feel like the steal gave us momentum. But then after that, the shot selection was horrible. Took quick shots, Troy got on the run, and that just killed us.
Aaron, you led the whole game in offensive rebound on the offensive glass. What did you see out there in terms of getting on the offensive glass? Did you see like openings or anything like that? What were you seeing out there?
I mean, we put up quick shots. I'm supposed to rebound anyway, so just go get the ball.
What does it do to the momentum for you guys whenever you guys come back to get within 6 and have them to go on an 11-0 run to extend the lead back to 10 points? What does that do for you guys? How does that affect you, like, mentally?
It doesn't mentally break me down. I just think that we have to make stops and score the ball. That's all you have to do. So.
And answer that question, I can tell you the majority of the young women, they're used to, in practice, we talk a lot about getting a stop and a score. Obviously, it plays in your psyche, of course, when you're out there playing and you make a good run. But I think the belief was always there because the margin was pretty big, and I went with a smaller group. And when that happened, it really was that quote-unquote smaller group, basically all-guard group that brought us back within the game. And, they ran out of gas. That's just happened sometimes in a game. We had to make some substitutions. And it wasn't necessarily the substitutions that maybe necessarily changed it, but for sure the fact that they ran out of gas and we weren't able to go with that group was part of it. And we weren't able to sustain. And then, again, we took some bad shots, and there were some critical turnovers as well that landed Troy the opportunity to go score.
They're out there for a long time. So
they were.
That group
and they did a great job.
Yeah,
they did a great job when they were out there, and I'm proud of that effort. That type of effort has brought us, wins in the past.
It's got to be hard too when because that lineup really worked well for you. Is there a way to figure out somehow to use it more? I mean, because it, like you were saying, it can lead to fatigue. Is it just the kind of a game-by-game thing, how you figure out how to, work the minutes, or? Well,
I think the one thing you've probably noticed, we've been a little bit more guard-heavy anyway. Part of it's injury, part of it's scheme, and because that it has been good to us, I can't say that we're going to necessarily always go to that type of a lineup because we do have, and I do have confidence. And right now, really and truly, we only have one true back-to-the-basket player, and that's in Clea Mays. And Jacqueline Jeffco can face up and play back to the basket as well as Whitney Apari, and that's it, y'all. I mean, because honestly, Aaron Peoples and Erica May are both guards. So I think integrating them is going to be important for us to be able to make a run across the board. But does that guard group work for us? Yeah, for sure. Because of the ability to get up and go, a lot of them can score buckets quickly, and obviously they have the ability to be able to keep up in front of them and create some mismatch issues at times as well, which we try to take advantage of a little bit of that tonight. It didn't end up being so successful with Aaron's mismatches in the paint.
I guess any of you have coaches, but how are you feeling right now from the standpoint after this game in terms of the rest of the season goes, like your spot in conference?
So what does that mean? I have to answer the question? I can tell you as I feel as a coach right now. I think this is a tough loss, but I've said this from before. Troy is probably playing better than anyone else right now as a team. If you take a look at their losses, they don't have bad losses, and even those losses were close games for the most part. They've got kids that have the ability to be able to score. A lot of people want to knock the fact that they don't, quote-unquote, play defense because people are able to score so easily on them. But the havoc that they wreak by running a lot of different things and getting to scoring opportunities has worked for them. My hat's off to Coach Rigby and her style of play. I remember since she was a junior college coach and was extremely successful, and now she's taking that same style down to Troy. It's worked for them. So I think our team knew it was going to be a tough game as well. So as I look at this game right now, no coach is ever happy with this type of a loss. We're going to go back and we're going to have to make certain adjustments for sure. But we have 3 games left in our conference. And to me, that's 3 more games to get ourselves prepared to try to make a run. And we are definitely capable. So for me right now, it's the ability to be able to take a look, assess where we're at, tweak a couple things to get us back into play, because it's very obvious as you guys watch and as these young women know, we have the ability to. We just got to put it all together now. We just got to put it all together.